Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Getting Creative With, the show where AADL staff engage with an arbitrarily chosen topic to stay playful, stay inspired, and as the name suggests, creative. My name is Ksenia, and with me today are AADL staff members Aurora, Evelyn, Marianne, and Amanda, and this week's theme was press. I was hard pressed to come up with some project this week. That was my obligatory pun. Aurora, how did you do?
Well, when the idea was press, and I thought, okay, a lot of time people have make something to press a flowers or press a plant to dry and make something out of it. I thought about it. I tried a little bit and wasn't that successful because with the winter time, you don't get many plants that you could press to dry. So I did something slightly different. There was a technique that they call a Japanese press plant technique. And then actually you take a live plant and you prepare a fabric with mordant to help it to absorb the plant colors. And upon my research, I come across this one lady used soy milk rather than other kind of aluminum or oak gore, I think, gall to use to prepare the fabric for the process. So I thought, well, that's more natural with soy milk. You have to soak the fabric in the soy milk for 12 hours and you let it dry and you repeat the process for a couple of times. And after that, you would take any plant that you have in your house. I bought some flowers, which is just any flowers you could buy from the store. And you just lay it flat against the fabric on one side with something backing on it, and you lay your plant down on the top, and then you lay another parchment paper, and then you hammer it. So you would get the pattern of the flowers onto the fabric so that you have it. And I tried this one, and I also tried another one that I really like was this one. So I used the carnations. That's the only thing I could get in the store. And then there was this flowers that I kind of like because the imprints of the flowers got on the fabric. And then I even tried some green, the green colors of the leaves and some other plants. So I think it's pretty fun. Yeah. Although my husband wondering why I'm doing hamming in the basement, but it was kind of fun. Get something different looking, and I like the colors of it.
Yeah.
So that's my process of press by doing that.
What kind of fabric is it? Like a thick canvas or a cotton?
Just cotton, but because I soak it in the soy milk about 3 times, so it kind of stiff it up a bit. And they give a coating on it, but otherwise not that bad. So
interesting. I've never heard of using soy milk as a mordant. I've only ever heard of
Yeah, one lady said in Europe that's what they use. Something more natural that it doesn't affect the because I heard that alloy or other stuff have iron in it. It's kind of bad for the environment. So when I read about the soy milk, I said, I'll give it a try. If I'm not successfully, that's okay. It's experiment.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I know that lots of mordants, even if when you use the same plant to dye something, a different mordant with the same plant will produce a different dye. So it's what you printed on that fabric is really close to the original color of the flower. And it's really, really neat that you were able to keep the integrity of it. Was the fabric still moist with the soy milk when you printed, or was it dry?
It was dry. I had to wait until fully dry before I test it out.
Okay. Nice.
So then was there any like, so then there wasn't any moisture or anything. You just got the color transfer from the hammering?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from the plant directly. So.
And have you tested out like the permanence of the dye yet at all? Like, have you run it under cold water or anything? I'm just so
Well,
curious.
she did say, the lady who tried it, that you could hand wash it gently with like something that more gentle, that you could keep some of it for a while, but it's not guaranteed after maybe 20 wash. It won't. It's not show as brilliant as it is after so many wash. But I thought you could always give it a try. And then if you want to hang it or do something with it, you don't probably wash it that much.
Yeah, that would be a really cool technique to do on like a canvas tote bag or something.
Mm-hmm. She actually did that in a tote bag, and I think that it doesn't show as brilliant as thinner material because it's too thick, it won't transfer. So that's why she recommended more thinner type of fabric. So that's why I did a cotton.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's really cool to see something that vibrant in the middle of winter. Honestly, I'm surprised by how much that struck me. Yeah, cool. You're gonna have that like last for you at least until, you know, through the spring, through the summer, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's so fun. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for that. Evelyn, hi.
Hi.
How are you doing this week?
So when I heard press, I thought of, because I sew a lot, I thought of like pressing and sewing, which is like sort of like ironing, except instead of moving the iron back and forth, you know, you just like press down. And it's something you have to do when you're making like seams or really anything. And it used to be something that I would skip a lot in my sewing, but I've tried to get better at not skipping it. And actually like it does really make a big difference. But there's some projects that I'll avoid because they have like too much, and quilting is one of those things where I feel like it's just a lot. So I decided to do something that had a lot of pressing in it. And I made a scrap buster poof, which is very heavy because I have to like drag it up here. So it's very heavy because it's filled with a little bit of cotton like batting, but mostly all my fabric scraps. So I really like it because I made it out of like some old IKEA curtain fabric that I have had around for forever. So it's pretty durable. It took a lot of pressing because I don't know if you can like really see, and I have a picture of the inside of it that I'll send around, but like each one of these seams had to be sewn separately and pressed separately. And then the sides also are panels. And then the bottom is just two with a zipper. So yeah, it's much heavier than it would be if it weren't filled with fabric scraps, but I have a huge bag, and like I think you can take fabric scraps to recycle Ann Arbor, but you know, fabric is a pretty terrible thing to put in the landfill. So I have just been hanging on to my scraps for a year, thinking like, well, maybe someday I'll make this. And then I actually did.
I'm very impressed.
So yeah, I think my kids will like it to sit on. I mean, I sat on it and it's fine, but you know, it's, if you start out like low to the ground, it's more comfortable, I think.
Does it hold its shape pretty well when you sit on it and put weight on it?
Yeah, it does. I put it so that it has like some of the cotton stuffing on the top and then also some on the bottom, and then the fabric scraps are in the middle. That's just kind of how it worked out. And I imagine as I like get more scraps, I'll take some of the cotton out and, you know, put more and more scraps in there. But yeah, it does hold its shape pretty well. It's a free pattern from Closet Core Patterns, which is an independent pattern shop I really like. So if anybody wants to make it, it's free, and it was a little time consuming because of all the pressing.
How much time did you put into it, Evelyn, do you think?
Maybe 5 hours.
Not bad.
Yeah, because the majority was cutting, and then also she suggested if you want to be able to wash it, which because of the aforementioned kids, I do want to be able to wash it, that you finish the edges of all of the pieces. And I have a serger, which makes that sort of thing go a lot faster. But I think if I had been like doing like a zigzag stitch to finish the edges, it would have really driven me crazy.
Is the green, the trim, is that piping?
Yeah, that's piping. And so there was included in the thing was a tutorial about making your own piping. But I did not do that. This is just like store-bought piping.
Yeah.
I did this is all leftover fabric scraps. I did buy the zipper and the piping, but everything else was just stuff I had left over. So I didn't have the patience to make my own piping. Maybe someday.
What I like about it, well, one of the things I like about it is that as you accrue more fabric scraps, that item is getting used and it's going to lose some of its fullness. And then as you create more scraps, depending on how much you sew, you're totally going to keep just like filling it with more scraps to kind of balance off the firmness of it. So
yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah. And they did it has on the inside to make it easier to take apart and clean. So it's not just like filled with scraps. There's a little mesh drawstring bag. So I did buy this mesh also, which was on sale for like, I think it was $1 a yard at Joann's. And it's a real weird mesh with these like rainbow foil animals.
Wow.
I didn't ask the woman when I bought it because she was like, what are you going to make with this? And I was like, just this bag. What do people make with this? She's like, I don't really know. I was like, I guess that's why it's on sale for like $1 a yard.
I get maybe curtains, like a sheer curtain.
Maybe.
A panel.
Yeah, or like you could make like a kid's tutu, I guess. Or she said maybe like a table decoration. I don't know.
Halloween dress up or something.
Yeah, something like that. But so yeah.
Then does the mesh bag inside, you said is it a drawstring bag? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I made that real quick too, but that was like, I didn't use a pattern or anything. That was just a quick sew.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I have already bookmarked that pattern. I have a lot of scraps as well. And this is intimidating to me because of all the panels, but I'm in severe need of more seating in my home. So
yeah. Well, if you need more seating and you have a lot of fabric scraps, I feel like it's a pretty great pattern for that.
Love it. Nice. And so with the fabric that you sewed, you said it was curtain fabric, right? So what level of thickness is it?
So it was curtains, but it's like canvas thickness. Oh, wow. Okay. It's like a canvas tote bag thickness.
Okay.
So it's very sturdy. Mm-hmm. I think you could make it with like a quilting cotton or anything like that. But since I had this fabric, and it took away like really having to think about like the color piecing to just use all one fabric, and it's pretty durable. Thought it would be good.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'll have to check in with you in a few months to see how it's holding up.
Yeah.
It'll be fast.
I'm sure it's going to get a lot of rough use, so I'll let you know if it holds together.
But I love that you can wash it. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. As always, challenging me and inspiring me to try new things. Thank you for that. Cool. All right. Well, Mary Ann. Hello.
Hi. Well, this was a tough one, Press, for me too. So, of course, the iron was the first thing I thought of too, like Evelyn. And I was going to try pressing some shaved crayon pieces and molding, and I didn't have any crayons. So I took all my scrap candle pieces and did that, and it was a complete failure. I came up with this. It's just like a clump of wax. Although I do like the shape and the colors and everything, and it smells wonderful, but it wasn't going to work. So I moved on to, I had just made a Valentine's gift that I wanted to wrap up. So I decided just to do some wrapping paper, and I thought I would press everything on it. So I had good intentions of making my own paint and my own stamps, but that didn't happen either. So I did actually, though, make, which I've never done, a potato stamp. Which I can't believe I've never done since I have kids. But so I did a little heart, and I used just a regular stamp and a stamp pad. And I was surprised at how well the potato stamp worked for the hearts. I don't know if you can see things here.
They look great.
So the hearts, there's my love stamp. These I decided to do lipstick kisses. So I had to press my lips up there and use a couple of different lipstick shades. So that's my wrapping paper. And I did one other thing, because I always think of my mom's peanut butter cookies that she pressed with a fork. So I called my mom up, and she sent me the recipe, and I made these. So that was my other press.
That's amazing. I love it.
That's great.
Yeah. So that was it. It was I don't know, a little more challenging this week to think of something. I thought about my flower press too, but I knew I wouldn't be ready with the flowers. Yeah, that's what I did.
Neat. So when you did the candles, did you do like
it's just so delicious.
Wax paper and then the candles and then more wax paper?
I just used parchment paper and sort of just dumped it all in there and started pressing it. And what I had in mind, I wanted to get it all liquidy and use like a cookie cutter and actually do a shape. But it was so much, I guess, oil, or it was just really hard to work with. I don't know if you people have ever worked with, melted old candle. I think there was just too many different types of candles too. I don't know. So I ended up just like quickly putting it all together in a Ziploc bag and throwing it in the fridge and letting it harden. And yeah, but like the colors are pretty, I like them.
Yeah, it looks like a really cool stone with
So I guess it wasn't a complete failure, but it wasn't what I had hoped I was going to be able to do. So yeah,
I've done like reheating, like when I get down to like the end of a candle, I'll scrape the wick out and then melt the candle into like a smaller thing and put a new wick in with like other candle wax so I can have it a little longer. But I've never done it on, I could imagine it being really hard if you're on like a flat surface and then the wax just feels like it would be going everywhere.
It just started to run out. And I would have liked to have tried the crayons because I looked at it all. I thought about shredding them, and then I didn't have any crayons, and didn't get it together to get any. Didn't want to run to the store just for crayons, really. So, it was fun though.
Well, 2 questions from me. What kind of paint did you use for your stamps? And is the cookie recipe publicly available?
Yes, the cookie recipe, I can send that. The paint was just a tempera paint. I think I'm trying to remember. I used a couple of different things because I'm getting down to like the very ends of my paints and supplies. So I'm like just pulling and gooping things out. And so I think that's what it was. I don't have it here in front of me, but it worked really well. I was just really surprised. And I was surprised at how easy potatoes are to shape, really. I had no idea what I was doing. So I actually had to like read what side of the potato you're using. I don't know if it matters, but yeah.
Well, yeah. So is it like I've never made one either. So is it at the
It's the inside.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to use the sort of the skin side or the inside. And yeah, you do. They said the inside, so that's what I used. But yeah, and I read about making your own paints and your own stamps and everything. But like I said, I just didn't get it done. So I just pulled out what I had and used what I had, and it worked out nicely. Now I just got to wrap it. Yeah.
I love how tactile it is. Like even the touching of the paper, the stamping it, the pressing of the cookie, it's all like really, I don't know, involved physically. It's just really cool.
Yeah, my fingers were pretty pink for a while too, because it was a lot of, so were my lips.
I was going to say,
I had so much lipstick on. Yeah, but enjoy.
Delightful. Beautiful. Well then, Amanda, hi. What did you make this week, given that you are, you know, a printmaker?
I know, I was like, you're actually a professional.
I know, my gosh.
Yes, I like this. Well, I figured like I wanted to try something different. I said, well, if I don't come up with something else, I can always do some form of printmaking. But I've done printmaking with this group on here a few other times. And so I was trying to think of the word press and some other sort of like literal and figurative meanings of what press could be. And I got stuck on pressing down upon something. And then I got stuck in my head under pressure. And then I got the song. And then I was going to do something with David Bowie related. And then I was going to basically just like draw a picture of David Bowie. But the Aladdin Sane version of him popped in my head, and that's like a different era than the song. And then, so I just did this morning where I was going to draw my Aladdin Sane David Bowie. And then I had the idea of doing this instead. So here's Freddie Mercury with the Aladdin Sane makeup. So that's Under Pressure, the song. I like the way it turned out. I was thinking of doing some lettering on the bottom that said like maybe on his shirt, like Under Pressure, like on Freddie's little tank shirt. But I didn't want to ruin it. And I like the way it's got little like chest hair on there. And I like the way it turned out. And I was afraid the lettering. So I do want to play with a little bit of lettering. I was looking up some like Bowie and Queen related different fonts they've used on different albums before. And I found a cool font from Bowie's album Hunky Dory that I liked, that I can see the letters forming under pressure. So I might do a little Under Pressure like on there. So I did the song and I did a mashup, but I don't like drawing. I do simple shapes. And so for me to like draw a person was like, ew. But to me, it actually looks like Freddie Mercury, right? With his mustache a little bit. And I think it looks like Freddie Mercury. Yeah, so that's but I'm kind of inspired to do a little series of other drawings that are mashups of two different people for particular reasons. So Under Pressure is my pressing matter today. But yeah, I totally thought of like pressing with an iron. I thought of like letterpress. I thought of printmaking and stamp making. I have some other kinds of stamps, sort of like what Marianne kind of went towards. Then I don't know how last night I just got stuck on Under Pressure, and I'm going to wake up and draw David Bowie. And then I drew Freddie instead.
That's great.
So there we go.
So how did you end up drawing that? Did you just take a look at his portrait and like draw as you were looking at it? Or did you try going from memory, or how did that come about?
No, I pulled up a picture of Freddie Mercury on my computer. And of course I can't draw fake people or real people. Like I draw stick figures. And so with Freddie, like the main thing I like this era of Freddie, because at first I thought I could draw the Aladdin Sane make, but I wanted him like in the yellow jacket. And I was like, no, don't worry about that. And then I was like, well, you just got to get the hair and the mustache. And plus I took it the easy way. And some Aladdin Sane images have eyes closed. And so I went with that because then I didn't have to draw eyes. So mostly it was just getting the hair right and the mustache. And I thought, well, that'll at least look like Freddie. The lightning bolt isn't quite, I did another one before this one, and the lightning bolt only covers like part of his eye, which I like better. But it's only on paper, and I wanted it on cardstock. So when I drew the second one, it covers more of his eye, and I like the other one better. But so after I drew it the first time, and I was like, well, dang, that looks not bad, but I wanted it on cardstock. So I held it up to my window and I traced my own like outline of Freddie's face. And then I just kind of read through the features. But I mean, I was kind of proud of myself because I'm not good at drawing things in the likeness of what they really are. Like, especially people, like who wants to draw people? I mean, I don't, but so it was kind of fun to do something more outside my box, even though I love Freddie and David. So
it's a great idea.
Yeah. It turned out
Looks really good. I was going to say, like, as much as like I've seen all sorts of different kinds of your art, including like felts you've made with people, which have been really great. I've never seen like a drawing you've done, and it's really good.
Thanks. Yeah, I like for my printmaking, I draw simple shapes again because I'm not a super great drawer, but I do simple shapes, and I like doing like fruits and vegetables, things that can be sort of like imperfect. Like a person looks like a person, you know? And if you're drawing somebody that's a real figure, not just like a woman or a man or whatever, it's like it has to actually look like the thing. Like if you draw a dog, like I've drawn some really funny looking dogs, and I haven't printed a dog because they look too bizarre to me to be, you know? But with this, it was fun again to have the challenge of like making it kind of look like, it was a little bit cheating because, like I said, I just focused on the hair and the stash. You know, I mean, even if I didn't have the lightning bolt, it would still look like Freddie Mercury, which I think is.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Evelyn. Thanks.
Totally. Yeah, I love how iconic you made him look, and you captured how the symbol of Freddie Mercury essentially with the lightning bolt across his face. That's really just super cool. I love that like really kind of simple aesthetic that I could never do that. Like make a drawing that so captures the essence of somebody or something. Like I just have a really hard time with it. So I get really like nitpicky and I do like a lot of cross hatching and like I overwork it and it becomes really weird. So I really I love, and I am so envious of the artwork that like so resembles somebody else in ways that aren't as like, I don't know, finicky or like, I don't know. It's really symbolic what you did. So I just really appreciate it. It's a cool aesthetic.
Well, thanks for signing up and forcing me to come up with the idea and do it.
You should do you said you were going to do more mashups. You should do like a Gaga J-Lo inauguration mashup.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I was trying to think of other like iconic that were in like the same realm, like artists or dancers or whatever they were. Like these are both like iconic singers. So we'll see. I mean, I drew 2 people this morning, which is more people than I've drawn in like 20 years. So, but I'm inspired to keep to challenge myself and to come up with a couple other ideas, and I'll do, something. And if it doesn't turn out, move on to the next thing,
Yeah.
Nice. I would want that on my wall personally. I think it's very cool.
Yeah. I hope you put it up.
Yeah, truly.
So one question. Do you think lettering or no lettering?
No lettering.
And I could do something on the bottom, or I could do something on his shirt.
I would do the lettering on like, can you do it on like, I don't know, parchment paper or something like that? So then you can like hold it up to the window and decide.
Yeah. I wouldn't just draw it directly on here because it'll destroy it.
Because I like the lettering idea. I think it'd look cute.
Because I really like the font that's on the album, Hunky Dory. I don't know. I'll think about it. But yeah, I'll do some tracing and hold it up to see if I like it. Because I don't want to detract from what I already have.
Yeah.
The pressure's on.
You keep carrying that theme. Keep doing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, who's next? Ksenia?
Me. So when I just sort of wrote this theme down, and I don't know what I know what I was thinking. I was thinking like, oh my God, Amanda's going to make something and it's going to be like, having the press. So I definitely thought about like, it was different for me to think like a printmaker, because I've done stuff in it. Like I have a little baby press and stuff downstairs, and but I don't really do a whole lot of stamping, but I really wanted to try that out because it makes me think of, the word press. So I played around with a bunch of stuff. Where's my thing? I made a couple of stamps for myself out of wood, and I just ended up making a little triangle and indenting it with a flathead screwdriver. And I just started looking around my house and everything became a stamp all of a sudden. So like they're like little pill packs and an old broccoli floret that I found somewhere in my fridge that wasn't going to get eaten. And I had a really good time with it. So I made something functional and something that makes me happy and it's pretty. I made 2 towels out of a flour sack material and I pressed the seams. So there's that. But also I used this end of a metal shelf that we ended up having to shorten to stamp this really fun little like pattern.
Ooh, that's so cute.
Yeah, so I just use acrylic paint and a fabric medium to paint all this or to print all this stuff on there, and you heat seal it with with just an iron with like a piece of cotton over it to help set it. And I also have never tried doing the wood block string printing ever, so I thought that would be really fun, and I made a second towel with that pattern.
Oh, nice. Love that. Is that, I've never seen that before. Is that, did you just like wrap the string around the wood block?
Yeah, that's all I did, and I just painted the wood block itself so it became like a little relief print. And the yarn was thick enough that it was able to actually do the print. Because the issue I ran into with the stamp that I made was the paint kept getting into the little divots, and so it just it was really gloppy when I printed it. So it just, it didn't really like look as nice as I wanted it to. So yeah, relief printing, way better. Also, I made cheese. And I have my little baby pressed cheddar right here.
Oh, wow.
That looks good.
I can't believe 2 people made a pressed craft and then also made a pressed food. That's amazing. I should have like made a French press coffee and brought that out.
Yeah.
That would have been on brand.
You did all that the printing with the coffee rings before, right? That was like, yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I was reminded of that, and I was like, well, that could be a press related craft.
Yeah.
I like how there's like overlapping themes in some of the stuff we do. I think that's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, stuff that I would never think about doing really. It's just, it's always really cool to see what other people, how they interpret it. But I've had rennet sitting in my fridge for a month now or so I wanted to use that and finally try my hand at cheese making. It is done being pressed, which I'm gonna have to send you a photo of like the jerry-rigged cheese press I made, because I do not have a cheese press. Like this thing involved a cup, a bowl, 2 cutting boards, and a 15-pound free weight plate. So it was something. But it's going to dry for about 1 to 3 days, and I'm going to wax it and see what it looks like in like a month.
Cool.
Yeah, it's, I tried a little bit of the curds that I made, and it hasn't killed me yet, nor has caused terrible effect to my body.
Dog's cracking me up back there.
Yeah. So funny.
That's what I made, the stamps and the cheese with my homemade cheese press.
How do you wax it? Like I'm thinking about like cheese, and then like, wouldn't the wax be hot and melt the cheese? I realize maybe that's a dumb question, but.
I have no idea. All I know is that I'm going to have to like put it into the wax, like paint it on essentially. But the wax isn't going to be like super hot. It's just like when you melt something in a double boiler, it doesn't,
I guess, yeah.
Hot. But also, I don't know about, like, I have no idea what makes a cheese meltable. That is not something I've studied up on, and I probably should. It's a very good point.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it is a young cheddar because I used a mesophilic culture, and I guess cheddar is kind of melty. So stay tuned. Yeah. Oh, and the first time I tried making this was with ultra pasteurized milk. Don't do that.
I assume that did not really work.
It did not work at all. I made what essentially looked like, I don't know, like a weird milk soup. Like the curds kind of separated, but it wasn't anything. It was like a weird stratum. I don't even know what to call it. It was still edible, so I put it in my coffee because I don't like wasting food, but whatever. Yeah, so use some good quality high fat milk from your local farmer. But yeah, those are my press projects. And you're right, it's been really fun to see everyone else's projects, like the overlaps and the sort of expectations we may have had for each other. And having those like blown out of the water. I love it.
Yeah, like Amanda in particular, you could have given me a million guesses of what you would have done for this, and I never would have guessed a Bowie Freddie mashup drawing.
Yeah. I was like, well, I can't do printmaking, or I don't know. I'm like, oh, they'll think I'm doing printmaking.
Gosh.
Under pressure.
That earworm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had no idea that you could use swim milk as a mordant. That's so entirely surprising to me. Yeah, as always ridiculously surprised and inspired and challenged. So thank you for being, pressed upon, impressing upon me the importance of staying creative. I'm done, I promise. And as always, I really appreciate it. So thank you, and I'll see y'all.